It's all about grape expectations today on the Express. See, I already have some cheese to go with my wine.
Marks for appearance and presentation.
On today's show,
marks for creativity and 15 marks for the way that the wine interacts with the dish.
the Playhouse Wine Festival's Flavors of the City competition.
Fruit-driven flavors of Australian wines really helps with both flavors and Chinese food.
Stephen Wong's Chinese-Australian combination.
We come here and taste it and say, wow, this is something different from what we experienced it.
The artisan sake of Masa Shiroki.
To be a science.
Welcome to Sabrage.
And later, a Sabrage celebration.
Goes very well with it for the nuttiness of the walnut and a sweet pea puree.
See that and more, local expression. And it all goes very well with your accent.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to our Express Swirl and Sip Special, the Playhouse International Wine Festival. It's not just a great opportunity to try new wines, although it is that. It's also a great chance to learn about possible pairings. Now consider this, Chinese food is the world's most popular cuisine, and Australia has some of the world's most popular wines. So here's your how-to for your Kung Pao.
Chinese food is full of flavor and popular all over the world. But would you believe it tastes even better with a glass of wine? Well, Wolf Blast wine ambassador George Simios and food writer Stephen Wong think so, which is why they met up for lunch at Imperial Chinese to pair Chinese food dishes with Australian wine.
Chinese food is rich in flavour, it's rich in texture, it's got lots of different sensations happening, so it actually needs wine that's powerful in flavour.
The sort of fruit-driven flavors of Australian wines really helps with some of the sort of more difficult flavors in Chinese food. This is actually a fried rice with scallop and shrimp and tobacco.
They've paired this rice dish with a Chardonnay.
All right, let's try this. Well, I think from my perspective, I think the wine, typical unwooded Chardonnay, lots of fruit, sort of those green apple / melon flavours, no malolactic, so no creaminess in the wine.
Simios says consider things like food texture, temperature, and how the meal is cooked before choosing a wine.
You can deep fry chicken, you can braise chicken, you can steam chicken, and if you do it 3 different ways, but there's actually 15 different ways you can cook chicken, you actually need a different wine every time.
Next up, it's a noodle dish with mushrooms and a Cabernet Sauvignon.
Mushrooms and red wine are a very good combination, so I expect it'll go well.
And the aromas, the berry aromas are just jumping out of the glass.
Yeah, it's great. And look, Australian wine's full of flavour, and that's the important thing with Chinese food.
Okay, at this point you may be feeling a little intimidated, but Simios says just stick with basic rules like matching the wine to the main ingredient in your dish.
Food and wine matching is, there's a lot of theory and talk, and a lot of it comes down to your own personal taste, but there is no doubt that certain varieties of certain wines are better suited to Chinese food.
These two food and wine experts are teaming up for a workshop this weekend at the Wine Festival if you want to learn more. And hey, don't forget to channel those Aussies and enjoy your glass of wine.
The Canadians are very similar to Australians. You like to have a good time. You just hosted the Olympics, which we loved watching back in Australia, and you won the hockey, which made us as happy as it made you guys.
I'll drink to that. I'm Bianca Solterbeck in Vancouver for The Express.
Here's another tip from Stephen. He says if you're planning to have one bottle with several different regional dishes, then go with something simple like a Chardonnay. Sounds good to me, although the pour to pair at this event is a Gewürztraminer. So grab yourself a glass and a fork and enjoy Fetzer's New Beginnings. Cheers. So what's the poorhouse pairing with the Gewürztraminer?
What I've done here is a classic take on a crab Louis salad. So fresh Dungeness crab. We have some pickled sea asparagus, and we have a lovely little deviled quail's egg. To spice it up a little bit, I've made a local Chilliwack honey paprika.
Delicious. And it's going to go lovely with my Gewürz because
the sweetness and the spiciness from the crab salad will go lovely with the wine.
Something steamy is getting served up by Preston. So what's pairing with the Gewürztraminer?
We have a confit of pork belly and some pickled rhubarb with an orange foam.
And why does that go well with the white?
Well, the Gewürztraminer really cuts through the fattiness of the pork belly, I think. So.
Ooh, people love to hear that, you know. It's
Awesome.
good.
Thanks.
I thought that maybe there was whipped cream on there. I got really excited. So why a Gewürztraminer?
A Gewürztraminer is a wonderful variety. It's so spicy and aromatic. Fits the new cuisine, you know, of Asian foods, Pan-Pacific. It's a really wonderful varietal.
And we score it out of a total of 25 marks. 5 marks for appearance and presentation, 5 marks for creativity, and 15 marks for the way that the wine interacts with the dish, or vice versa.
From the tea house, but definitely not serving up tea right now. What is this delectable dish that goes with the Gewürz?
We have a smoked pea puree. It's seasoned. It goes with a crispy pork belly and a little walnut crumbs on top of qualicum-based scallop. Goes very well with it for the nuttiness of the walnut, and a sweet pea puree goes very well with the Gewürztraminer.
Very nice, and it all goes very well with your accent.
Thank you very much.
I couldn't help it.
You want something in that plate that's just going to jump out and say, wow, this really makes the wine do something, and that's what the whole point behind it really is.
The winers and diners get to judge also, and we're going to find out who wins later in the show, plus have some fun with the bubbly and a personal chef, after a whole different kind of wine experience at the smallest sake distillery in the world.
The ancient practice of sake making is labor-intensive.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Woo.
Well, not much has changed in the last few thousand years, except maybe for the scale of production.
This is probably the smallest sake making facility you would ever see anywhere, including Japan and North America.
Masa and his sommeliers produce just 9,000 liters of sake a year. It's a high-quality product that can be found in signature liquor stores and in select restaurants around Vancouver. And it's all done here, in about 900 square feet on Granville Island.
And Masa, where is this rice from?
This is the original rice grain that we used in order to steam. The koji is made with rice, like steamed rice, but it's been affected with a koji mold. The mold actually does provide the, this is science here.
You should be a scientist. Too much for my brain.
The mold provides enzyme to convert starch into sugar, okay?
You should really go into teaching as well.
Whatever. Anyway, this is exactly what we want to see. We want to see that the yeast is acting very healthy, smells wonderful, nice, fruity smell.
After some last-minute calculations and checks, rice and water is added to the mix and stirred with traditional sake paddles. After 25 days, the sake is pressed through sake bags and bottled with no pasteurization or filtration.
This one actually has lots of anise-like licorice kind of notes. It can go with a variety of food in the same way as the great wines will do.
Appreciation for sake is increasing. Last year, Vancouver Magazine awarded Masa's sparkling sake as one of its top 10 white wines.
The sake has come a long way to be recognized. Not a prominent yet. It's not in mainstream, of course, yet, but it is starting to come up. So it's a new sort of rising star, in my opinion.
Sake is attracting young sommeliers like Dawn, looking for something new.
Within the last year, I met Masa, and it became really interesting, and I've decided to come on board. My interest has turned more into a passion, and it's not work anymore. I see a lot of potential with sake. There's a lot of growth already, but I think there's a lot more interest, and people are starting to become a little bit more aware.
We have tons of chefs, sommeliers, sometimes restaurant owners would come here and taste it and say, wow, this is something different from what we experienced it.
I'm Erin Shaw in Vancouver for The Express.
Thank you. The shop doesn't just sell sake. They also have the rice mush, or the katsu, thank you very much, that is made into things like salad dressing. You can find out more at the website. And you want to stay with us because we have more on wine of the grape variety coming up. After the break, meet James Kluwer, master of wine.
If you smelt a wine that was very green fruit, like green apple or citrus, it would probably tell you that it comes from a cooler climate.
See Ty the Wine Guy's sparkling sensation.
I think sometimes is the coolest party trick ever.
You're watching local TV on the Express.